Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Brotherly Birds breakdown for Week 13, the Chicago Bears. We're the Montgomery brothers. I'm Jim.
What's up? I'm Kyle.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Coming at you a
Happy
little
Thanksgiving.
earlier.
Absolutely.
But,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Got to eat the turkey and all the other good stuff. But before we get into the Bears, we do have a game to recap. And I don't even know where to start. I really don't know where to start. I mean, you pick a problem and we can start there.
Well, let's start here before we even get into that. What's your favorite part of Thanksgiving? What's your favorite food?
Probably either the mashed potatoes or the stuffing.
Okay. All right. I'm a stuffing guy. Previously, diagnosed with diabetes, so I can't really eat too much of the stuffing or potatoes anymore. But, nothing's as good as, turkey, stuffing, put some gravy on it. I mean, that's a staple for sure. So,
Yeah, like the whole combo.
Yes,
everything together.
everything on the plate. Sprinkle some gravy on it, douse it with gravy, and just sop it up with one of those rolls, and you're good to go, man. That's Thanksgiving right there.
Yes,
so,
love it. And
all
then
right,
wear
well,
sweatpants and just lay on the
exactly.
couch.
Lay back and hopefully watch the Cowboys get their asses kicked in the afternoon game. Because we did a good enough job of getting our asses kicked in last weekend's afternoon game.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, like the Eagles came out, did I think what they should have done. They punched them in the mouth.
Yep.
The Cowboys, like any good division team will do that is fighting for their playoff life, came out, punched back, and then the Eagles had no answers from there.
Right. And that's, they talked about all week, did you take your foot off the gas? And, they said no. They clearly took their foot off the gas. Like they played conservative because they thought getting a 21-point lead on the Cowboys was good enough. And Jalen has alluded to this all year. They played not to lose instead of playing to win, which that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. I mean, so I don't think it's the play calling. I don't think it's Jalen. I don't think you don't go up 21-0 and then all of a sudden forget how to play football. You know what I mean? Like you don't all of a sudden suck at that point. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to look at. I think, execution is a huge problem. It's one thing to call vanilla plays. It's another thing to actually execute those vanilla plays. And they're not executing them, right? You and I talked about Saquon missing holes. And let's continue to address the elephant in the room that you and I have talked about for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And the offensive line is just playing horribly. Not even bad. They're playing horribly. And look, I'm not making excuses for them. I know that there's injuries on the offensive line. They're all banged up. They're all fighting through something. But if I hear Jordan Mailata say we're one block away one more time,
it's been all season. They've been one block away the entire season.
At what point do you make that block? Like you can't say you're one block away and then not make the block. So it's one thing to know when you're doing something wrong. It's another thing to fix what you're doing wrong. And I appreciate the fact that they seem like they understand what they're doing wrong and they know that they're one block away, but they're doing nothing to fix it.
No, but they're still doing the same thing. So before I get into the offensive line, because I got a lot to say about that, you mentioned conservative and playing not to lose. I don't necessarily, because it does all tie together here, but I don't necessarily think they played conservative in the second half. I think, if anything, they were the opposite. And I talked about this earlier in the week. They weren't trying to run the ball. Saquon ran the ball 10 times. they had big plays. However, every time they had a big play, it was a dumb penalty, whether
Hmm.
it was the ref calling something that was bogus, like the Devontae block or whatever they called on him, or uh, false starts, illegal motion. Like that's what killed them. If anything, I don't think they were conservative. Like it's the one narrative that was going out there this week that I don't necessarily agree with because I think they were far from it. But to your point, they did not execute. And I, I I mean, I don't, not taking Kevin Petula off the hook and saying called a great game because he needs to do a lot of work there. But some of those play calls were the right play call if and it wasn't like they were getting holding calls. It was stupid mental illegal motion lined up like AJ lined up over the outside guard, Matt Pryor. Like
Yep.
just things that I think that comes down to coaching, and you don't see usually a Nick Sirianni team play that undisciplined and make those mental mistakes.
Yeah, I mean they're in the top. I want to say they're top 3 or 5 in penalties this year. They're just an undisciplined team this year, and look, I understand that they're playing with a lot of backups, so maybe that's why these guys are backups. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's why. I don't know, but like your starters are getting like how many times have we saw Jordan Mailata get dinged? Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens
Right.
got with the false start with the head movement, like you gotta know more. Like you gotta be better than that. Like you gotta stop making those dumb mistakes. And that's exactly what they are. They're dumb penalties. They're dumb penalties because
Right.
they had 2 first downs to Dallas Goddard on those. It's a RPO. They throw it to Goddard in the like the outside there, and he picks up the first down. And twice. Once was the Devontae rub route, like you said, where they called pass interference, which look, we can say all we want about it. That was pass interference. Like he made contact with the guy. So like
Yeah.
you as a defensive back, you're trained. You see the rub route coming. You're trained to make contact with the receiver
And
and
make
try
the
to get that
flop.
call.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you try to get that call. And look, I was going back and forth with buddies on Sunday, and they were talking about the fix is in and this and that. Look, have that same energy when the Eagles get the calls. Don't have that energy just when the calls are going against the Eagles because the Eagles got 14 penalties called against them. That's not all a fix. That's disciplined
Yeah.
football that the Eagles were not playing, right? And like you want to call the not pass interference against CD on Cooper's face? That's fine. But then let's go back to the Lions game on the Phantom AJ Brown pass interference at the end of the game.
That
If
they
we
got.
get one, we get one, we give one. That's and look, we all as fans have to understand at this point. We talked about it numerous times this year. Every game we go into, we know the refs are going to screw up a play. We know they're going to screw up
It,
something. They always do. It happens
be
every
better.
game in the NFL, every game. So instead of crying about it, when the Eagles win and somebody says, "Oh, well, that penalty cost us the game." Well, you should play better so you don't leave it in the ref's hands. When the Eagles lose and we had penalties against us, you should play better so you don't leave it in the
Absolutely.
ref's hands.
That was
Simple as that.
not on the refs.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It was on the Eagles executing and staying disciplined, as you said. I mean, and look, to your point, that starts at the top. It starts with Nick. And I think it's a trickle down effect. But like Stoutland, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think he's just run its course. It looks like this year because like they're not doing anything good on that
They're
line.
not listening to him. And so, I think it was, I don't think it was Pryor. I think it was Toth or whoever it was, the one guard. It seemed like, why was he so late to go down? Like everybody is in their stance and he's looking around trying to figure out
Hmm.
what the call is. Like, I get sometimes that the lineman will pop up and look and they'll change it up, but
Yeah,
it was literally every single play. He was the last one down. And like a couple times it looked like Jalen was like forcibly yelling at him on what to do. That's coaching. Like that is
yeah.
Stoutland U at its finest. It's like Chase U from NXT.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like they do that a lot on road games for cadence purposes. Like they'll keep an eye out, and then he taps the center and all that stuff. So like I did see that happen a lot. But to your point, there was a lot of times where he's moving his head, and like those should be called false starts too. Like I know he was never in
I
his
was waiting
position, but
for it.
like you can't look around the whole time while a receiver's going in motion and everything because that leads you to two people in motion and not being set. You know what I
There was at
mean?
least 5 times where AJ was
Absolutely.
in motion and he's looking around like, "What do I
And
do?"
you can't do that. Like that's
No.
not allowed. So, you know, we got away with a few there. So, look, at the end of the day, we knew going into it that Dallas offense is a problem. Like they're going to put up yards, they're going to put up
Yeah.
points if you give them the opportunity. And the Eagles gave them the opportunity because our offense couldn't convert when they needed to. And our defense was on the field way too long. Simple as
Yeah, I
that,
mean,
you know?
24 points against that team when they were averaging over 30 a game, like, that's a win. Like,
Yeah.
that's a win for the defense, which if they weren't on the field, like you said, 3 and outs the entire second half, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, I think it was 7 or 8 straight drives where it was 3 and out, and, it just adds to the league leading total, and that's look, again, I think that's something that we keep forgetting with Stoutland. Stoutland is not just the offensive line coach, he's the run game coordinator. So the running game sucks this year. It sucks. They're like 20, what are they, 27th or something like that in rushes or in running game yards per
Yeah,
game or
it's
something like that. And they're 17th in points per game. And like that's a direct correlation of the running game because they're up, but they can't end games. They can't run the games out like they used to be able to the last couple of years. So, that's a big problem, man. Big problem.
right. Well, I mean, I saw a couple guys, like, poach it from Twitter, but I forget which guy was analyzing it, and there was one play where Saquon took it outside where the line actually was they did it perfectly. They sealed it up, and he would have had a 6-yard gain minimally, and then there was a guy that he could have beat one-on-one and broke one, but he took it outside, and it's just like that falls, I feel, on Stoutland. Like, you can't put that on the line. You can't put that on Kevin Petula because obviously it was the right play call.
Mhm.
Everybody did what they were supposed to do. Saquon just missed it. And
Yep.
he said after the game, well, they wanted it more than us. And then Sirianni kind of backtracked on that. But I trust and believe that Saquon said they wanted the game more. So to me, were they ready to play this game?
And look, at the end of the day, too, like I think, you and I have always been real about things. And like I think a lot of Eagles fans, and I'll probably catch flack for this, but a lot of Eagles fans are not always realistic when it comes to looking at the
No.
team. They look at things with a rose-colored lens, you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, Saquon is great." Yeah, Saquon is great. Love Saquon. He's having a bad year, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he may get 1,000 yards this year, but he's gonna get 1,000 yards at 3.7 yards a carry, which is not great considering what he has his standards at, you know what I mean? And I
He's got
think
a
at the
lot
end
of
of
work to do to get there too.
well, and but here's the thing, right? So like you saw that the running game was not working. The running game was not working because out of his 10 carries, 6 of them went up the middle into the strength of the Dallas defense. Why are we doing that? Why are we not running the off tackle or the counters that are very successful? They've been successful all years. Everybody wants to know, oh, well, how is Tank that much better than Saquon? No, when Tank's in there, we run the off tackle and the
Yeah.
counters. Like that's why
Mhm.
he's averaging 9 yards a clip. That's what got Saquon those yards last year. We ran off tackle and then he would cut it back or he would start off tackle and cut it back inside. Those are the things that we're not doing this year because we're calling those. It's like what was that play in Madden? It's the H back dive. You know what I mean? The
HB
halfback dive
dive.
right up the middle. It's going to work 1 out of 10 times. You just hope that this is that one time, and it's ridiculous at this point. Like it's the same stuff, same stuff. And you and I posted this a lot in like chats and stuff, and like in our text. But like it really does look like Petula sometimes has the Tecmo Bowl play calls. Like it's the same 6 plays, same 6 routes,
It's
same
like you
six
can
everything.
turn the playbook over. You can turn the
It's
page. There's plays on the
it's
back.
I just don't understand. Like, I brought this up to Hez Sunday too. Like, remember last year against Green Bay at Brazil, you had the wheel route to Saquon. You ran it twice in that game, and he caught both passes. One was
Both
for a
of them.
touchdown, one was for a long gain, right? You pulled it out in the Super Bowl. You pulled it out earlier this year. Where was that Sunday? If the run game wasn't working, You can't just throw a swing pass to Saquon. Get him, and then like the one time that it was there, he overthrows him. Because he
Right.
actually had time. So it's like
Well, and then the
poor
other one,
execution.
I don't know if it was the which pass it was now at this point, but the one was that the one he fumbled then too, or was that on a run?
That was on that was yeah, that was a swing pass. That was a swing pass. Yep. And that's the
But he
thing,
fumbled.
right? So like y- nothing you could do about that. The guy punched it out from behind. Like it's just
Yeah,
those are the types of things that I bet you any running back in the NFL probably would have got that same thing happen to
but
him.
it gets compounded because of the other penalties, the illegal shifts,
Yes.
the illegal motions, and it's just the sum total of everything. But yeah, I mean, I do think, like I said, I don't think the play calling was conservative. I think a better word for it, I guess, is vanilla or like the same plays. So, like, and I didn't want it to sound like I was giving Kevin Patullo a pass because he absolutely sucked, like 100%. Like he's not getting. I've heard too many people talk about it this week, and I've read too much about it this week. He's not scheming those guys like the route tree. Those routes are the exact same. That's why it looks like AJ's stopping because he knows by the time he's supposed to go, the next play's already over.
Yeah.
So that again, that's on coaching. Like, why are they not doing that this year? Where you're supposed to kind of like, I forget who it was, one of the guys in the Inquirer, but like you work through that. So by the time you get to the third or fourth quarter, that's when instead of doing the same curl, you fake it and do the post over the middle. Then
That's why, like, I love when like seeing Vic Fangio up in the booth because he sees all this stuff happen and he can make adjustments in real time because he sees what's going on. When the offensive coordinators are on the sideline, I feel like they don't always see the same things. You know what I mean? So like they don't
right.
always make the same adjustments. So maybe Petula needs to go in the booth. Maybe he needs to go up top and see things from a higher level and see the
I
plays and
mean,
go,
it can't
oh,
hurt.
at this point, I mean, I'd be willing to do it. You know what I mean? And like I think at the end of the day, right now, as Eagles fans, we have to look at this offense and just go, this may be what we get this year. This may be what
I
it
think
is.
so.
You
Well,
know?
and yeah, I mean, this is what 12 games now that
Yeah.
this is, or 11 games, whatever it is, that I mean, the exact same. It was just you got lucky that the Giants defense wasn't that good. You got lucky that the Rams kind of let up and then you blocked two field goals. You know what I mean? Like those games that
Hmm.
they, they did enough in Tampa Bay probably was one of their better games because they made Todd Bowles stop blitzing. But
Right. Right.
I don't think we're going to see anything different. And I don't also don't think so much talk about this. Firing Kevin Petula right now would be worse than what he's doing now. Like, I don't think people understand, like, week 13, you're not bringing in a new offensive coordinator. You're
No.
not bringing in somebody to implement a new system.
No.
Maybe like I saw Dable they were talking to Dable about coming in as a consultant since he
That's
coached,
fake news.
but
It's fake
I was
news.
going to
It's
say,
all
but that was
fake.
Dick
It wasn't a
Johnson.
real well, it wasn't a real article. It was fake. It was on I saw it on Facebook too. It wasn't a real article. It never
But
really
I'm just
happened.
saying people have been
Yeah.
talking about that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even think at that point, like Doug Peterson, a lot of people are talking about that. And it's like, you're going to bring Doug Peterson in and do what? Like
They
Doug
had that
Peterson doesn't run
opportunity.
that offense.
No, but they
Like,
had that opportunity back in like week 6. If they were going to bring somebody in as a consultant, they had that opportunity back then. Now that ship has sailed, and it is what it is at this point.
yeah,
I will say that the lone bright spot that I saw on Sunday from the offensive side, outside of that first quarter and a half, they got to the line of scrimmage with 13 or 14 seconds left on the play clock a lot more frequently on Sunday than they have
they did.
all year. So maybe they turn the page with that, and hopefully that kind of kicks them into gear. Because even when they were going 3 and out, they were still getting to the line of scrimmage with like 16 seconds on the play clock because they were getting down set, and then that's when everybody would kind of look back at Jalen, and he would either audible or he wouldn't audible.
Right.
So maybe that falls a little on Jalen too for not being able to read that defense properly and make the audibles the way that he's supposed to. But like that last third down and 2 play, everybody in the world knew AJ was running a slant. Everybody, even Dallas, the Dallas fans, the announcers, everybody knew that.
I said
So
it sitting in the basement on the couch. I'm like, here comes the slant.
but everybody's eyes, like Jalen's eyes, did not leave AJ Brown's vision the whole time. Like he just looked at him. You had Dallas Goedert over the middle for a 3-yard gain,
That was
which
the
he,
sack, right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
sack that ended
because
that drive. Yep.
like he didn't know what to do when AJ was covered, and that's why I think he got sacked. Like I said that, I'm like, oh, it
He
was
didn't even go to his
infuriating.
progressions is what happened, right? So, like, he stayed on AJ, and before he knew it, there was somebody in his face. If he would have just looked at AJ, saw that he was tightly covered, and looked to his second read, Dallas got it right over the middle, he had him beat. He had him beat 100
He did.
110% of the time. And that's a 3-yard gain right over the middle. Anytime, I'd probably say this this season, Jalen has made that throw probably, I don't know, 20 times. That same exact throw to Dallas Goedert right over the middle. We've seen it happen a lot. That's there
Yeah,
all the time. Dallas is always open with those 3 or 4 yard gains, and we get pissed off at it because they need 6 for a first down, but he goes 3, 4, or 5 yards. You know what I mean?
right. But the
But
time he should have done it, he doesn't
exactly.
throw it.
So, and look, we can't, when we talk about the problems, we can't not mention Xavier Gipson. Um, if he's returning punts on Friday, there's clearly something wrong with the Eagles organization. Um, the dude's fumbled 30% of his plays in the NFL. Like, you don't. That's not good. That's not good at all.
That's
That's like
no,
that's
like
like
that's
being a shortstop making an error 30% of the time. Like that, you're not going to play long if that
one out of
happens.
every 3 plays you're making an error.
It makes
Like
0
that's
sense. Right, 0 sense, and, like, you have, not only do you still have Jahan Dotson on the team who can return punts, he used to do it at Penn State, he was pretty damn good at it, but
I
you have
forgot
Britton
he was on the
Covey.
team.
You brought Britton Covey back, and he's on your practice squad. Just elevate the son of a gun and have he's one of the best in the league, and now watch, I say that, they'll elevate him and he'll have 2 fumbles, but, like, he's as sure-handed as you get
But
as a punt
I
returner.
would take that risk over Gibson because there's no excuse for that. That's like punt return 101. Like I was on the punt team, so I never returned, but
Right.
it's kicked over your head, you let it go, especially
It's
inside the 10.
Right, and here's the thing, like, we go back to the Green Bay game, and I know there's a rule that if the kicking team touches it, you can advance it, but you won't get penalized, like, you can't go backwards, you can only advance it. There's no way in hell Gibson knew that rule. He's not
Not
Randall
after what I
Cobb that
saw on Sunday.
no, and he's not Randall Cobb that knew the kickoff rule that I'm gonna step out of bounds and then touch the ball, and that's a penalty, like, Randall Cobb knew that. Like, I understood that he knew that. There's no way Gibson knew that rule because nobody else on the
No.
team knew that rule. You know what I mean? So, like,
No.
look, I had this whole rant ready to go that he's more hated for me right now than Reno Mahe was.
Oof. And if anybody
Yeah,
knows, that's pretty deep.
yeah, and look, I mean, Reno Mahe had his issues too, and, like, I just I
He
compare
just
Reno
wasn't
Mahe.
fast.
He just was not fast at all, not fast. And, like, the Eagles decided to put him as a returner, and I'm like, well, all right, you'll get 10 yards, and he'll get caught from behind by the long snapper, but okay, whatever works, you know. So I think they need to make an adjustment there for sure, because you can't go into Friday's game with Gibson being your punt returner. Can't
No.
happen.
Like and I don't know. It's just like I was like, why are you catching that? Like it just so there, you made two mistakes on the same play, essentially. One catching it, and then two fumbling it. Like
Yeah.
you
I
can't do
just
that.
like I understand that you want to in like we see it all the time. People do this. They fake the fair catch and then they run up like at the last second and let it bounce over their head. Do that. Like the ball
He didn't do that. He was like, I'm catching this ball.
at the 2 yard line. I don't quite understand that. I just in my and there's no way you didn't know where you were. So I can't even give him the benefit of the doubt there. Because you know where you line up when they're punting, you knew that you were inside the 10, you know?
I was gonna
Because
say
like
he lined up. It wasn't like it was a boomer. Like he was already lined up right there from the start.
right, right. So, I think it's definitely it could be a blessing in disguise for them. Like, and look, we know losing sucks. We don't have a lot of it over the last few years with the Eagles, but losing sucks. It sucks even more when you lose to Dallas, and it
Oh
sucks
yeah,
even more losing to Dallas the way that they lost.
blowing a 21-point lead like that. I
Which,
think if that game was 24-21 back and forth, it would have stung. But like everybody, like my entire Twitter line, my entire text message, my phone was blowing up. This game's going to be a rout. This is 44-6 all over again. And I mean, I myself included, I'm like, all right, they're going to roll this team. And
hmm
yeah, we got rolled.
and look, I kudos and hats off to Dallas. They didn't mail it in. They
No,
most weaker teams that we thought Dallas was a weak-minded team. Most weak teams would have just mailed that in and said, "We're down 21-0. This team, with the way this defense is playing, there's no way we're going to come back against this team." And kudos to them for fighting through it and making the second half adjustments. And look, at the end of the day, we got to give props to the offensive line of the Cowboys. The offensive line, kind of turned it on in the
they
second half. They
they
did.
did. I mean, Jalen Phillips didn't hear his name at all in the second half.
No, no. So they made the adjustments, and the Eagles didn't. Which, as you said, man, under Sirianni, that doesn't usually happen. Usually, we're a second half adjustment team, and we make the necessary ones. And they didn't. They didn't make the necessary adjustments, and they suffered the consequences for it.
No, I think. I mean, so I want to get to the defense. A couple things I want to talk about, but I mean, it was almost like they were cocky. Like they thought they were going to roll in there. We got the Kelly Greens on. We're up 21-0 now, and I think no matter what they say, they let the foot off the gas. But can they bounce back from this? Like, I feel like Friday is going to be like the turning point of the season. They're either going to go down the tube like they did in 23, or they're going to rally around each other. And like to your point, somebody, we were talking about it before, somebody needs to step up and be the guy that leads them.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's perfect segue into my 2 cents this week. It's just clear cut. It's gut check time for this team. As you said, it could be the turning point of the season. Regardless of what happens, it's the turning point of the season. So it's either going
Yeah,
to turn the right way or it's going to turn the wrong way. This is that pivotal game on a short week after that loss, right? So, you know, channeling my inner Michael Jackson, they got to look at the man in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like who's going to make the changes that they need to make to step up? Like who's going to be the leader? Years past, as you and I said, we had Malcolm Jenkins, we had Kelsey, like you always had somebody that would step up and kind of be that vocal leader. I don't know that they have one, man. And like I know Jalen likes to be the vocal leader. I don't know that these guys are buying into it. I don't know. I don't know at this point. Like it, he was doing the pregame speech against the Lions, and it looked like AJ was checked out. And I don't know. And let's look at this thing too, right? Like AJ got his stats, but they lost. So
right.
let's get over that fact and everybody, all these fans and everything saying get AJ the ball. Well, they force fed AJ a little bit. They came out on that first drive and they decided to throw the ball the whole time and barely ran. They ran the ball once. That was before we established that they couldn't run the ball. They just didn't run the ball to prove a point, right? Um, and then we end up losing the game. So I think they need to step up, and I think somebody and I'm looking at Mailata. I'm looking at Mailata is what I'm looking at because he always says the right things. He needs to be dude 6'7", 6'8", like be a leader.
Right.
Don't listen to you if you talk. You know what I mean? So like get these guys in line, take it upon yourself and get that offensive line playing better and come out and just beat the living hell out of the Chicago Bears on Friday. That's
Yeah.
what you need to do.
I mean, it's got to be a pride thing at this point. Like you have been getting beat up the entire season. Like like this line reminds me of the old school Buddy Ryan lines where like you had nobody and like if we got a guy that ran for 50, Keith Byers ran for 50 yards or Anthony Tony, like it's a good week running the ball because you knew
Yeah,
Randall was going to do it. Like it's embarrassing.
it is. It is embarrassing. And it's and the thing that kills me is they've probably been the least penalized offensive line over the last like 3 to 4 years, and this year they're probably one of the worst because of those dumb
Yeah.
penalties. It's dumb. It's not like you said. It's not even holding. Like they're not getting called for holds. They're getting called
No,
for dumb other things. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's ridiculous at this point. So somebody needs to step up and be the leader on the team, the vocal leader. And I don't even care if it's somebody on defense. I don't care who it is at this point, but somebody needs to man up and hold everybody accountable and say we're not going out like this. You know, whether it's BG, whether it's you know, I guess Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, N'Kobe Dean, like all those guys were there 2 years ago too. So like somebody needs to step up and just kind of say we're not doing this. This isn't happening because this
no, not
defense
on my
is
watch.
not like that defense. We know that the offense can still be like that offense was. Um, but I just the the thought of 30 points a game out of this team, I I don't see that happening
That's not
anytime
happening.
soon with consistency. You know, there might be 1 or 2 games here and there, but I don't see it happening consistently.
No, and I mean, I don't know. And it was funny because I did the today was the anniversary of the Buffalo game when it was kind of like that high point. I didn't realize they gave up 500 yards. So that defense is completely different than what it was 2 years ago. But I struggle to see this offense putting up 34 points against anybody at this point.
Yeah, look, I mean, we thought they were primed and ready to do it against Dallas with no weather, no nothing, and in Dallas's stadium, and they only put up 21. Now, I still think they had the potential to put up more than that. They probably had the potential to put up 40, and they just couldn't execute. Doesn't mean that they, should have, but I feel like it's there. I feel like they do have that capability. I just don't think they're consistent enough because too many penalties, too many dumb mistakes that are going
Right.
to cost them. So
So I heard that Dak said something, and I don't know whether it was like after the game or in one of his press conferences this week, but he said they felt they had a shot when they only went into halftime down 14 points. So, should Sirianni have been more aggressive at the end of the second half instead of just kind of running out the clock and going to halftime and like at least trying to get a field goal? Or is that more telling that the fact that he doesn't believe that they could get 25 yards to even get into field goal range?
yeah, I mean, after when they question him on that, and I'm starting to understand his logic, even though it's frustrating as a fan. Like they were on like the 30 or like the 32, something like that, with 17 seconds left. Yes, they had timeouts, but like too many things could happen in that regard. So, like, let's say Jalen forces one, throws a pick, then you give Dallas, who has a kicker that can kick from 75 yards, you give them a chance to go with a field goal,
Good
and then they
point.
have clearly all the momentum. Now, the Eagles were going to get the ball back after the halftime, which plays a huge role in what that play call is, right? So I think after hearing him kind of explain that the last couple of times, like where he had those questionable calls and like it looked like they weren't being aggressive, I do kind of understand it. I still would have rather them at least take one passing shot, and if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. And then, but like you got Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, and AJ Brown. You can't tell me they can't get 15 to 20 yards easily. Like AJ
Right.
catches that hook and then spins around like To used to do. He gets 15, 20 yards on his own. You know what I mean? And then you call timeout, and then you have another shot. So I don't know. I see it from both
Yeah. I
sides,
mean,
but I definitely understand the logic.
yeah, and I mean, I could see if you didn't have any timeouts, like you said, but the fact I think they had two. So,
They
I
did.
mean,
They did. Yep.
it's, but not that I think that played any role in how they played the second half, one way or the other. Like they still just turtled up. But defensively, your boy Sidney Brown is starting on Friday. He's knocked two people out this season so far.
Friendly fire.
His own
Friendly fire.
teammates. His own
Yeah.
teammates.
Yeah.
Uh, Can they is he at this point just what he is? Or I mean, I have to feel that Vic is trying to kind of rein him in and calm him down, but like I like the energy, but you gotta play within the system.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't have high hopes for him because I just hope at this point he doesn't hurt somebody else on our team. Because it's getting out of hand and friendly fire now. Like the way he landed on Makuba's ankle, like now Makuba, if we may get him back for the playoffs, depending on how bad it was. He may be out, 4 to 6 weeks. It all depends. But then he has to rehab and get back up to speed. So, look, hopefully Sidney Brown can do what he's capable of. I mean, he's obviously good enough to play back there. He just needs to reel it in and not get dumb penalties called against him for late hits and all this other stuff. And I got to be honest, man, we're brothers, right? And like I don't feel like there's been an opportunity for us to ever be like, man, I got the short end of the stick there. But we definitely got the short end of the stick when it comes to the Brown brothers. You know what I mean? Like
We certainly did.
we got the crazier, nuttier, the guy that just flies around like the Tasmanian devil, and like the Bengals get Chase Brown, who's like a potential Pro Bowl running back. And I'm like, damn, we get a guy that when he does get on the field, he just throws his body around and acts like a maniac out there, which if you can harness it for good, great. But he hasn't been able
And
to
that
harness it for good yet.
he has not been. No. But it does look like too that Adoree Jackson is in line to play, which is good, I think, in the sense that I don't know if Coop's an outside guy. I just I feel like he, depending on the matchups, he could be, but I think he was just. And then, granted, George Pickens and CD are two of the better receivers in the league, but even without the pass interference, I felt like he was outmatched, and I don't know if part of that was because he didn't practice playing outside all week, and if he has to do it a week of practice, he'll be better. But I just feel like he's just another guy on the outside where when you put him inside and let him play more of that hybrid role, he's better suited, I think.
He's better suited for the whole defense that way, right? It's better for the whole defense. So I agree with you. I don't think that he's incapable of playing outside. I think it probably he didn't get enough reps playing outside in practice all week because you had Adoree Jackson and Ringo playing out there. So like you were in the nickel, like that's what you were doing, right? So, and I will say like losing Makuba over the like now they lost him. It proved to be, and you got to remember too, they lost Blankenship, so Blankenship was already out. Then Makuba goes
Yeah,
out, so you're running Sidney Brown, and then you have Michael Carter kind of playing the safety in that position at that point, and they don't really have a nickel because Ringo had to come in and play. So like you were down to Dory Jackson, Makuba, and Reed Blankenship at a certain point. So like there was confusion all around in that secondary. Like you saw Michael Carter run straight into Quinyon Mitchell on that slant route to George Pickens.
he did.
There's no way Quinyon Mitchell gives up that much cushion to a guy like Pickens ever, ever. And then when you saw the replay, you saw Michael Carter was lost out there. He had no idea what he was doing and bumped right into Q. So I just think, and look, I guarantee you, Vic is addressing that this week. Unlike
Oh, no
what they
doubt,
do on
no
offense,
doubt.
he's addressing that, and that won't happen again. He'll be better prepared for Chicago for sure.
No, I agree, but I mean, I feel like this is just one of those games you kind of brush it aside, forget about it, move on, and hope that it's not. Hopefully, it's the start of the upward trend instead of the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what our boy Tyrese Maxey always says: flush it, just flush it and move on, flush it. So, like I said, it stings and it sticks with you a little longer because it was Dallas and it was the way that it happened. But at the end of the day, they're still 8-3. They're sitting at the number 2 spot. They hold tiebreakers over everybody in the NFC except for now the NFC North leading Bears, who we have a chance to beat on Friday and hold that tiebreaker over them. So, and I was looking at it too, not to look ahead or even get into this because we have our own shit we got to deal with. But the Rams have to play at Carolina and at Seattle, and they still have to play Detroit. So you take that into consideration. Our biggest matchups are obviously Friday against Chicago, at the Chargers, and at Buffalo. So I like our odds a little bit more than theirs. I
Well,
think
the
they
at
lose.
Chargers will be a home game anyway.
More than likely, yes. Yeah, it'll be 60-40 in our favor for sure. For
Yes.
sure. So, but not taking anything away and trying to look past the Bears in any way because the Bears are obviously they're playing well this year, man. They're playing well. Ben Johnson has them that offense clicking. So it's going to be another challenge for the defense for sure.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute. But one last thing on the Cowboys game. Speaking of the crowd, how many, like, that was a good amount of Eagles fans in that crowd, too. Like, a couple times when Coop was making plays, you heard them, like, Tom Brady even mentioned it. He was like, a lot of Eagles fans here.
Yeah, I mean the number that I heard was like 60% Eagles fans, which
I believe it.
I mean, granted, in that stadium with that many people, that's a lot of Eagles fans to travel. But I mean, that's a marquee matchup. So rival game like that. I mean, we know a lot of people that went down there, so I can see that. I
Yeah.
can see it
I know a
definitely being.
ton.
But worst case, even if it was like 50-50, our fans are loud as hell. So even if there was only 20% Eagles fans, we still make an impact. When
You're
we're at
going
a
to hear
post.
them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to bring that up because even Tom Brady, he was like, they are cheering for Cooper.
Yeah. No, you could hear it, man. You could hear it loud as hell. It almost it sounded like how they do at the link for sure.
Nice. All right. So because we have to take a look at the picks from last week and quick update. I gave the wrong record at the end of when we did this last week.
Yeah.
It was I'm still 3-5-2. I didn't get that sixth loss yet. Um, but it looks like I pulled one out again this week. Barely.
Okay. All right.
Um, I had Jalen with 2 total touchdowns and AJ Brown with an anytime touchdown. And unless I missed something, I think you only had Jalen with the 3 total touchdowns.
Yeah, because I had the defense with 3 sacks and 2 turnovers. And they didn't get that. They didn't get that at all. Now, I did have Devontae with 70 yards and a touchdown, and he got the yards but not the touchdown.
Yeah.
So
So I'll take it. 4-5-2 now.
there you go.
Back
There
in
you
it,
go.
baby.
You're coming back. You're
but
coming back.
but like Maxie says, we're gonna flush this one because I don't even want to talk about it.
There you go.
But so you kind of alluded to this. I don't know what to make of the Bears. Like I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams, but is Ben Johnson that good of an offensive mind that he's making him reach his potential?
Look, they got weapons, man. They're a solid team. They got weapons, but like the Bears are a top 10 offense and a bottom 10 defense. So,
Yes.
and if you look over their wins, and their schedule, their 7 wins that they have, or 8 wins now that they have, they they haven't come against studs. You know what I mean? They haven't. They played Washington with Mariota. Um, they played the Vikings without JJ McCarthy. I think that was, or maybe that was the. I think they played them twice now, so they played them both times. They have Wentz and McCarthy. So they
JJ
haven't played.
Jamarcus Russell, I heard somebody
Yeah,
call him.
yeah. They play. I think they played the Bengals. So like they're playing teams that don't have good defenses. So to be a top 10 offense against defenses like that, are you for real or are you just playing what's on your schedule because it is what it is, right? So I do think that they're a solid team. They're putting up numbers, they're putting up good points, and they're doing what they need to do. I think, and again, this could be because of the defenses they play, but I read a stat or heard a stat that they're like top 1 or 2 teams in explosive plays this year for an
Yes.
offense,
Yeah.
which makes sense when it's Ben Johnson as your head coach and he's an offensive guru. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I just I'm with you. It's almost like the what were we talking about? What team were we talking about? Jared Goff or one of these other teams where it's like, you know what? Do it in the playoffs and then I'll
Oh,
understand.
Darnold.
I'll believe it.
Goff
Darnold,
or
yeah, yeah.
Darnold.
Darnold, right? So do it in the playoffs and then I'll think that you're for real. So if Caleb Williams comes out and the Bears come out on Friday and ball out against this Eagles defense at home, okay. all right, you're legit.
I'll give him his
You're
props.
absolutely legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and if he comes out and just plays a solid game, doesn't turn the ball over, that's another thing, right? So I do
Well,
have
especially
this.
against our defense. That
I was just getting ready to say, and that's why Chicago is where they're at. That's why they're 8-3. Now, again, they haven't played solid teams because of their record last year. They played what's on their schedule, right? But they're plus 16 in a turnover battle in the season. So they're forcing turnovers and they're not turning the ball over as much. They've turned the ball over more than the Eagles, but they've also forced double the amount of turnovers that the Eagles have.
right.
So,
I
you
mean,
know,
they're opportunistic though. Like that's when you're playing a schedule like that, you're a young team. I mean, that's the way you have to play. So
yep. Yep. I agree.
I'm
I
sure they
agree,
have
man.
this game circled as a big test for them too, especially on the road. And we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for it to be completely honest because I really want to see like I was like I never was a big Caleb Williams fan anyway, but I'm like all right, let me see I if you're legit or not. And I didn't like him in college. I didn't like him. I didn't think he should have been number one overall, but we'll see. I mean, I'm still not
Yeah.
convinced, so I need to see it. So
It's
I don't
there.
know.
He has talent. It is in there. He just also has flaws that I think Ben Johnson is trying to work around and try to correct as much
Right.
as he can. You know, so it is it is going to be interesting to see because, like I said, man, like they're a top 10 offense, but they haven't played a defense like the Eagles yet. You know, they played the Lions defense, but the Lions just gave up 30 points to the Giants too. So
They didn't look so hot, I was gonna say last week. But
right, right.
so that's even more of an indictment on our offense that Jameis Winston is putting up 30 points against the Lions. And
Yeah, but that was inside. It wasn't in the elements with 40
I
degree
know, I
winds,
know.
or 40-mile-an-hour
No, I
winds.
know.
But like Jameis is that guy, man. Can we just acknowledge that Jameis is a national treasure? I know it sucks that he's on the Giants, but like, did you
I
did you
I
see his
wanna hate
pregame
him.
speech? Did you see it? He was like,
I didn't
we're
see it.
outside, but we're inside. We're outside, but we're inside." And we're like, "What? What does that mean? I don't even
Yeah.
know what that
I
means."
he's a guy you can't hate. Like I was much as like it like you said, it sucks he plays for the Giants. I was almost like I mean, obviously because it would have helped the Eagles too. Like I was rooting for them to
Oh
pull that
yeah,
off, and they should
yeah.
have. They absolutely should have.
Like it in typical Giants fashion, just like last year. Like you can't even tank the right way. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can't to get a better draft pick. You can't even do that right. So like we were talking back and forth with Jesse Oliver, and I was like, dude, your team can't even do. They can't even suck the right way. Like that's not like you just can't do anything. Like you can't win and you can't lose the right way. It's just it's brutal,
Somebody better tell Jameis like you're not supposed to win these games.
yeah, like you listen, somebody will pick you up as a backup. You know what I mean? Like somebody will pick you
Yeah.
up because you're a great locker room guy, clearly. So, you know, unreal.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll get into the defense, but I do think the Bears defense can be got. I
Hmm.
mean, they have. I think T.J. Edwards is coming back this week. Um, you- I guess it would be a revenge game for him. I mean, he left as I didn't think it was like contentious the way he left. C.J. Gardner Johnson's there, so I'm sure he's going to be looking for some revenge somewhere somehow,
Who
which
actually
I
played
think could bode
linebacker
well for
last
the
week?
Eagles.
Yeah, he actually
I
played
mean, and you
linebacker for a few plays last week because they're so banged
I
up.
saw that,
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
I mean, which we know how he is. So if he's over pursuing and trying to make a play, I think that bodes well for the receivers, and they should be there to be got. But bottom line is, it's a must win game. Like if the Eagles lose this game, and like none of this, well, not obviously it wouldn't be an acceptable loss that like people like to throw out there, but
Mm.
like I don't care if the offense puts up 28 points and you lose 31-28. It's a bad loss. Like I
Hmm.
don't care if the offense I know people were saying that last week. They're like, "Well, if they lose the game but the offense looks good." I'm like, "No. Like you cannot lose this game if you want to repeat as Super Bowl champions."
Yeah, I mean, if you want any chance of being the number 1 seed and getting back to the Super Bowl, you need to win this game. Because if you drop another NFC game, you're not winning the number 1 seed. You'll be lucky to get the 2 seed. The only reason you'll get the 2 seed is because the rest of the NFC is not that good this year. The NFC, it's kind of a down year, all things
Yes.
considered. The Rams, look, and we'll just say it. I mean, I don't think it's a secret. The Rams are the best team in the NFL right now. They're playing like it. And if the Eagles had to play the Rams right now, it wouldn't be like that other game that we played against them. Like they would dominate us,
Oh, it
and
would be
that's just how it would be.
yeah.
So because
But
if we would have to put up 30 points against them, I don't see it happening. But luckily for us, we
no.
already played them, we already beat them, and now we have the Bears this week.
And the playoffs don't start for like what, another 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So
Yep.
we got time to right the ship.
Right.
All right. And then obviously you mentioned his name, but wanted to give a shout out. Malcolm is going into the Eagles Hall of Fame this weekend alongside good old Bucko Kilroy, too. But
Bucko.
apparently he was, I did some research on him. Apparently at one point he was the dirtiest player in the NFL. I
Makes sense.
like it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, your
So
name's Bucko
shout
Kilroy.
outs.
I mean, you got it. Like, you probably had a reputation already.
Yeah. Sounds like a Bugs Bunny name, like the villain in a Bugs Bunny movie.
It does.
Oh, there goes
It does.
Bucko Kilroy.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I love it.
All right, so let's get into these picks. You want me to go first? I think you went
Yeah.
first last time, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right. Yeah, because we had almost the same score last time.
Yeah, we did.
All right. I do think it's a must-win game, and maybe part of this is wishful hope that they are going to pull together, but it's now or never for this team, and I think they're going to something about the black jerseys too. I feel like I know they've lost in them, but they play well, especially around Thanksgiving. Go back to 2008 on the Thanksgiving night against the Cardinals. I think they get it done. I think defense is probably slightly embarrassed for the way they played, even though they were on the field. So I think the defense is going to come out. I think you're going to see, we mentioned it before, like Saquon finally step up and realize that, okay, they wanted it. I can't let that happen again. I can't let a team want it more than me. And I think going back to what you said with him at the Super Bowl, that's what they need to do. I got it 27-14 Eagles.
Okay. All right. I like it. So I have the Birds winning. Similar score. I have the Eagles putting up 27, but I have 27-23. I think it's a closer game. And I think, because Ben Johnson with those explosive plays, I think there's going to be a stretch. And, I don't want it to be a stretch, but I think there's going to be a stretch in this game where the Eagles go 3 or 4 straight drives, three and out. The defense is on the field a lot, and they give up a couple of explosive plays because, look, you give Caleb Williams enough time, he's gonna roll out of that pocket, and he's great on the run. He's great on the run and throwing. He
Yes.
has a strong arm, and they got some fast guys. DJ Moore, Luther Burden. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I got them winning 27-23 because, to your point, I think they're embarrassed about what happened, and they know they're coming back home. So the slightest miscue, the slightest three and out, three straight drives, they're going to get booed, and they don't want that. They don't want that.
No. So I mean, obviously they probably introduced the off or the defense first on Friday.
I would think so. I would think
I
so, but
think.
like, look,
I mean,
the last home game they introduced defense, so maybe they're going to switch it up and go offense this time. Um, and look, that crowd's going to be loud for Jalen because, look, they lost, and Jalen's a part of the offense, but Jalen did not play bad at all.
I agree.
He
I
could have
agree.
played better, but like this is the problem though. You let Jalen throw the ball 40 times, they don't have a good track record of winning games because that means that they're
They
not
don't.
doing something else right on offense, right? So, I think that's something to remind ourselves of and take that into consideration when we're picking these things.
Yeah, no, and I think that's important. Like, of all the blame to go around, sure, Jalen didn't play a perfect game. I don't think that Jalen was probably top 15 reasons why they lost that game. Like,
No,
he's far down on the list of why they lost.
No, and I pointed at 3rd and 2 on that last drive that they had that he took the sack. You can't take the sack there, but I also look at the play call in there where it's 3rd and 2. You have the tush push in your back pocket, run the ball with Saquon, he can probably get at least a yard, if not 2, and then you run
Yeah.
the tush push. Like, you need 2 yards, like, come on, we're not talking about and that's just, like, where I think they try to get cute and they try to outsmart themselves and think too far ahead in these situations instead of just going with what got you there and being smart about it.
Yep. All right. So what do you got for three keys to the game?
So 3 keys of the game. I'm going to start off with discipline as a whole team. As we talked about throughout today, too many dumb penalties, offense and defense. This isn't Eagles football. They've been a very disciplined team over the Sirianni era. So I think they need to stay disciplined, especially coming on the heels of that 14 penalty performance. Stay disciplined. That needs to be cut in half, if not more than that, in order to win this game. So that's number one is discipline. Number two, defense. Again, stay disciplined, stay in your lanes, but they need to get pressure on Caleb Williams. He's young. He will throw picks when he's pressured. I think he has 4 or 5 interceptions on the year. So he will throw interceptions if he's pressured. He can fumble the ball as well. They do turn the ball over, just not at a high clip because they force a lot of turnovers.
Right.
But the more you pressure him, the more mistakes he'll make. So the only difference, as we talked about before, he's similar to Dak, where he can scramble, he can use his legs. So you just gotta not let that break you, like what we talked about with Jordan Love and all these other mobile quarterbacks. So, and then the third and final, offense needs to get right in this game. They need to right the ship. The Bears defense, as we talked about, it is gettable. And part of that, if not the whole thing, revolves around the run game this game. I think the Bears defense, I think I saw, gives up 135 yards a game on the ground, and the Eagles don't average that right now. So I think
Not
it's
even
right
close.
there. It's right there for them. If they can execute their run blocking, they can run the ball on this team. And I see a big game from Tank and Saquon. I think they utilize Tank a little more and get him a few more carries this week. I think they heard all the clamoring saying he's averaging 9 yards a clip. Let's get him more than 3 carries a game. Give him 4 or 5 and spell Saquon a little more. Let's see some creativity, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm stuck watching Penn State games here. So I see Penn State with 2 solid running backs. And since they got rid of Franklin, Terry Smith, the former wide receiver for them, has taken over. And guess what he's been doing? He's been throwing both of these stud running backs in the backfield on the same play. How about that, right? So why don't you run Saquon and Tank in there? Because why don't you do that? Because we all know what happens when you put Will Shipley in there. It's a pass play. He's in there for pass blocking. We know that.
We
You
know
don't
what
give the guy
happens.
the damn ball for anything. Anything. Switch it up every now and then. Have Shipley run a draw. That way it keeps the defense at least going, oh shit, he may not be pass blocking. We may give him the ball. Instead of the same stuff over and over and over again, switch it
Especially
up just a
this
little bit.
Bears defense who yeah,
So that's what I want to see from this offense. I want to see a little more creativity, even if it's in there. Like, line Devontae up in the backfield if he's playing, which we'll get into that. I don't think he's going to play, but we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I
Um,
don't either, but
but like, line up to what is his Tufu or to Tupu or Thomas Tepe Jr. Is that what his
Tafu.
name is? Tafu. um, but like, line him
He's
up
in
in
the
the
bloodline,
backfield.
that's all I know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He is. He's Solo Sokoa's brother, right? Tamatanga. But I just want to see a little more creativity and utilize these guys the way that they should, because everybody knows if Saquon's on the right hip of Jalen, it's going to be Saquon's getting the ball. He's going right up the middle. Like, let Saquon run outside. We know that he's explosive when he gets outside. Do these pitches. Like, remember the pitch that they did against Washington in the NFC Championship game? First play of the game.
First play of the game.
Do that. Do that more. I don't understand why we're not doing that. It blows my mind. Patullo's been here the whole Nick Sirianni era. He's seen this stuff. He understands what it takes. He knows we have these explosive players. Let's use it. Let's get out there and do it this week. You got your back's against the wall. You got nothing to lose this week. We need creativity. That's what we need.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I mean, my first key is very similar to your first key. I called it go back to basics though. Play Eagle smart, disciplined football. Like 14 penalties is just absolutely. I don't even think they've done that. Like Sirianni's first season before the roots took place. But
Right,
go
right.
back to the basics, be smart, be disciplined, and don't make dumb mistakes. Goes back to Van Buskert. Dumb guy, dumb guy. Don't be the
Yep.
dumb guy. Like make the plays. Um, I think second key, make Caleb Williams make mistakes. I still, and part of this is me not being sold, but I still think maybe not turnovers so much, but a bad throw, bad decision, miss a guy or overthrows something. Get the pressure, get that pass rush going again. And then offensively, I think using the middle of the field, like I was looking at some numbers and things, the Bears can be got over the middle. And that was be without TJ Edwards, obviously, but use Dallas Goddard, use the slant to AJ. Like, I haven't seen that at a time that's not when it's obviously that it's coming. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yep.
use it on first down. Like everybody's expecting you to run on first down, throw the quick slant, get 6 yards on it, and just eat the middle of the field and then open it up. Whether or not Devontae plays or not, you're going to open it up for AJ, whoever, Jahan, who last time I checked is still on the team.
He
Like
is.
get him
He
the
is.
ball in space.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and I think that's a great call. Great call for sure. And look, I would just want to touch on that real quick. You mentioned TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards did play for us. We know he can't really cover the tight end. So like it's there. It
no,
is there.
absolutely. And then and to kind of continue on that, like it's like 3.5 of my keys. Finish drives. Stop with the three and outs. Like I'm sick of it. Like I don't care if you go four and out, get a first down and then go three and out. Like just
Hmm.
sustain a drive consistently.
Yeah. No, I think that's the key right there. I think that's a big key. And I did mention this before, so I'll throw in my point five. But the turnovers. I mean, you got to win the turnover battle. Um,
Yeah,
you know, we touched on it last week. They're 40-2 in the last 42 games. When they win the turnover battle, they didn't win the turnover battle on Sunday. They tied it,
they
right?
did.
Because of two dumb fumbles. The Saquon one, I think anybody would have fumbled that, but the Gibson one was inexcusable. It was a dumb fumble, and only the Cowboys with Schottenheimer, they should have already lost the game by them kicking a field goal in that situation. So only Schottenheimer in that situation would have gone for it on fourth down and give the ball back to the Eagles with a chance to then go down and win. You know what I mean? So like, and
Yep.
gave them every opportunity to win the game, and they just couldn't win.
No, you take it. No, no, no,
Yeah,
you take it.
right. Yeah. No. No. By all means. Yeah. You go ahead. It just
Yeah.
and they couldn't do anything with it. So
No, but all that being said, this might be the last time I pick this guy for player of the game. But if you're ever going to get the run game going, it's going to be this week. If you're ever going to need to get the run game going, it's this week. I'm going Saquon as the player of the game. I have him 100 yards and a touchdown. I'm and again, leap of faith here. I think they're stupid. Like anybody can see the middle of the field, especially TJ, whether he plays or not. Especially if CJ Gardner Johnson is playing linebacker again. I got Dallas Goddard with 80 yards and a touchdown. I think AJ might have more than this, but I feel like they're going to try to establish the run, especially with Smitty being banged up. I think AJ goes for 80 yards, and I think the defense is thoroughly embarrassed. They're going 3 sacks and 2 turnovers. I think it's going to be a fun time. I have a feeling, like you said, though, it's going to be close enough that I'm not going to be able to leave early with Thatcher. So I'm telling him now, you got to wait the entire game, dude.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like, "Does that mean can I eat?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "If it takes a hot dog or a pizza or a pretzel or something, sure, we'll stay the entire game."
There
But
you go. I like it.
those are my fantasy stars. But like I said, I think Saquon, if he's ever going to have a game this year, this is the game. So we'll see.
Yeah, look, I got similar stuff. My player of the game, I'm going with Jalen. I think Jalen puts him on his back, and the offense comes out and clicks enough. It doesn't put up 40 points like what we want. And look, there is a chance that they do that, and then we both look like idiots. But I'll gladly take that, right? But I have Jalen with three
Yes,
total touchdowns again. I think he gets in the end zone on a run, whether it's a draw up the middle or it's a tush push. Either way, I too have Dallas Goddard with a touchdown. I think there's a sneaky chance that Dallas Goddard gets two touchdowns here, but I'm only going to go with one. AJ gets
I
a
could see it.
touchdown. I think AJ gets 100 yards and a touchdown. I think they, especially if Devontae's out. And then I do have I got a combo here. It's either Saquon or Tank that gets a touchdown because I had Saquon and Tank like as the combined running game. So I'm gonna go with Saquon gets a touchdown over Tank. Um, and then instead of the defense, I was gonna go defense gets two turnovers, but I'm gonna go with Jahan Dotson makes a huge play when they need it most, whether it's a first down or maybe he catches a long touchdown as well. But Jahan Dotson makes a huge play. Jalen hits him, whether it's one of those 40-yard bombs over the middle, 50-yard bombs over the middle. Jahan Dotson's going to step up, especially if Smitty's out, which all signs point to it because he didn't practice again today. Um, and it's very rare for Eagles under Nick Sirianni. If the first 2 days of
Right.
practice they're not out there at all, they're not playing. So uh, I think it's primed and ready for Jahan Dotson to come up big for them and in a big spot, and I think that happens on Friday.
Cool. Well, that you got five there, so I got to add one more, which I already have it locked and loaded and ready to go.
There you go.
The streak continues. N'Kobe Dean with another sack.
Okay,
One
dude,
of the three sacks will be N'Kobe Dean.
the way he just like blows up the running backs and pushes them into the quarterback, like, and he's not the biggest guy on the field, so
No,
they need to, and this is my campaign. I'm going to start it early. They need to re-sign to Kobe Dean.
yeah, I mean, I that is completely the way he's played this year has completely changed sort of the way they've all played, I think, has changed the priority. I think Jalen Carter now is third priority on that list almost. I almost think you go N'Kobe, Jordan, then Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, but luckily you have that extra year with him if you need it, right? You
You
do
do.
have that extra
Yeah.
year. So, but I will say, like N'Kobe raises the bar. He raises the bar of this defense, and like I didn't realize that. I don't think any of us realized that last year, but he's the bar set. Like he's the tone setter of that defense, and like he's that guy, and like he's very important under Vic's scheme. And like I think everybody realizes it, and I think Vic realizes it. And if you, as a fan, if you don't realize it, pay attention,
You
because
gotta watch the game. Yeah.
with him and Bond side by side, this could be a dangerous defense, especially with that secondary for years to come if they play their cards right.
No, I agree. All right. No, I like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Taking my son down. Um, I don't think he's ready. Like, I don't know if he knows what he's getting into. He was like, "Well, what if I have to go?" I'm like, "You got to schedule your bathroom breaks, bud." He's like, "Oh, okay."
It's only one way to
So
find out, man.
we'll see.
Only one way to find out.
Oh, well, I was getting him hyped. I told him about the eagle flying in. He's like, will we get to hold him?" I'm like, "No, he flies in from the top of the stadium and land." Oh, they probably trained him. I'm like, I don't think you understand what you're about to go in for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good
But
deal.
all right. So where can everybody find you?
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at KyleMont16, and then you can catch me every week on the Clashing Conferences podcast. Uh, if you're a sports fan and you want to have fun banter back and forth with like-minded individuals, We don't hate on anybody. You know what I mean? Join our network. It's a lot of fun. Jim joins every other week. He's always in the Discord though. We have a Discord chat where there's 20 plus of us to just kind of randomly talk sports, man, and we talk all sports. So we're looking for anybody and everybody who's a sports fan from all across the country. I'd love to talk to somebody who's a Rams fan or a Seahawks fan and really get you guys in here so you guys can talk some smack on our birds.
Yeah, no, it's always fun. And then you can catch me on all social media at Philly Jimbo every Monday through Friday, this day in Philly sports history. Even a short little episode for tomorrow. I know it's Thanksgiving, but we'll be here. And then, of course, we're still right in the middle of the third annual gift and food drive. Benefiting the Matty N. Dixon Community Cupboard in Ambler. Go to my social media. There's a QR code. You can scan it, and every little bit helps. We're going to start our reverse advent calendar, which is awesome. The kids love it. Instead of them getting a gift every day, they grab a thing of whatever the food of the day is, put it in a pile, and then we all donate it at the end of the time. And it's a good feeling. So if you can help, every little bit helps.
That's awesome.
It's
That's
you
awesome.
probably $5, and you guys probably all spend more than that on a parlay. So skip a parlay this week, donate to the food drive, and you'll be good to go.
There you go.
You got a
And
better
last,
shot of winning.
yeah, exactly. And look, may your capital gains be plentiful this Thanksgiving holiday. Take the time, spend with your family, be safe, and go birds. Go birds. Go
Yep.
birds.
Happy Thanksgiving. And like I always say, don't be an idiot. Call an Uber. Just don't be dumb. Don't be that guy.
Don't be the dumb guy.
But on that note, while everybody's out spending money, we'll be glued to the TV. We'll be back next week as we look ahead to the Chargers game. We'll recap this Bears game. But most importantly, go birds.
Go birds.